that has the voting phone number intact. So, you know what? Let's just call it and see what happens. Is this the hotline previously used to enter votes for the SpongeBob You Wish special?
Oh, this is Patrick.
Hey! That's
Okay,
your number.
look that one up. I remember this one. I swear I had to have seen this one. Because I remember the wrestler that was there, like in a junior varsity. That one.
Turkey? What?
Oh. I saw this.
A turkey.
Prepare yourself.
Yeah, what's
Right now, it is
Alright,
time
I'm
for our
confusing.
homegrown
Turkey,
wrestling
what?
champ, God Bob.
They did crazy stuff.
A turkey.
Oh, hey, Mike.
Damn turkey.
Alright.
Living my childhood
This
again.
15-pound turkey today.
That's a big turkey.
It's a big turkey and a side dish of Adam's choice, which was.
I went with potato
Not much,
latkes.
man.
What was potato latkes? There's a lot to choose from. So latkes one.
Yeah.
Alright, Garbaggio, you ready?
Watching apparently a wrestler wrestling a damn turkey.
Win, Garbaggio, win.
Come on.
Win.
Nothing. Do it. Release it side down.
Yes, I saw this. Yes. This is on a
Why the
block.
hell do I not want to make this a damn sneaker transition?
Do it! Do it! This was my childhood. Yes, that's Adam
A damn
Sandler.
turkey. Adam Sandler wrestling a turkey. Yeah, I'm saving this. I'll edit it later, but yeah, I'm saving this.
I wonder if they have anything from
And now,
All
because
That.
it's
Okay, All That had a segment called after All That called Snicks All Something Dare. People did dares, and one of them was clipping an old person's toenails. And I remember my great grandmother was watching it with me, and she was like, I mean, she didn't stop watching it, but she didn't like the look on her face.
well, I found this.
Try the one below it.
Oh god, yeah, she's so pretty.
Kyle Sullivan,
What's about to happen?
Sure. Well, apparently,
who was also in Malcolm in the Middle as his friend.
Just speaking of Malcolm in the Middle, I found something Malcolm in the Middle. And anime related.
Oh wait, this is the cast of Zoe 101 and
The suspense is killing me. Somebody
Christina Kirkman from the last season of All That. They had to pick which one would do the dare. And he voiced Sokka on Avatar, That Last Airbender.
Okay, stick around to see our castmate, Jack DeSena, our co-star, Jamie Spears.
the most earwax tacos in only 60 seconds.
What? I didn't see this one. But I'm not going to.
No, I meant the tacos.
I know. Yeah, it got weird.
Anyway, because I found this Malcolm in the Middle. And
Yeah, let's-
Yeah.
Buddy up!
Being
the slave to the Marvel Cinematic Universe that I am.
I love
watched
that guy.
WandaVision on Disney Plus as it was released. The highlight for me was episode 6, All New Halloween Spooktacular. Not for anything that happened in the plot, but instead for how it was a direct and faithful tribute to Malcolm in the Middle. However, when I watched their theme song parody, something was missing. Something that left me with the same question every time I started an episode of Fox's angsty early 2000s family sitcom.
Yes, no, maybe.
Who is this mysterious anime man? Plenty of videos have already broken down the origins of the bizarre clips found in this intro, which is set to the song Boss and Me by They Might Be Giants, and most feel like the kind of old-school cable filler that Malcolm in the Middle's family would watch.
That was also-
Imagine my surprise when I
one of
found
their
out that
songs was also the
Yes, No,
songs
Maybe,
of,
I Don't Know, Man
The Daily
came
Show.
from a 1998 anime called Nazca, or Dimensional Movement of Nazca. It ran for a total of 12 episodes and was created by
12
Yoshihiro
episodes.
Inamoto. It's named after the real-life Nazca lines in southern Peru. Their show
still don't
features
know how they-
5,000 geoglyphs of birds, animals, and humans. But ask a scientist what they represent or where they came from, and they'll say,
I don't know.
naturally, this series concerns high schoolers who study kendo and find out that they're reincarnated Incan warriors. Sure, they all live in Japan and used to look like overdressed wrestlers, but there's constant flashbacks to their original
Well, I got a
incarnations, where they
5.6
all look
rating on my
exactly
anime
the
list.
same. I guess they're operating on the logic of cartoon episodes where the same characters exist in different historical periods. It's like if Phineas and Ferb was all about the steampunk episode where Perry the Platypus is a swan.
Oh, there you are, Sweary the Swan.
They kind of offer an explanation
Oh.
of one of the later episodes, but it doesn't go beyond this brief moment. Besides, a piece of animation
Perry the
that would be
Platypus is
historically
awesome.
accurate is something I can suspend my disbelief for anyway.
Ozca has something in common with Nazca in Peru. The name sounds
Oh,
similar.
good, it's dogs I can
Japan,
watch.
The others in South America. The Ainu of Japan and the Inca show many similarities. Some archaeologists believe that they are originally the same race and culture, spread across Asia, North and South America.
The conflict is kicked off when young Kyoji sees a vision of his teacher
Zero
Tate
word.
as an Incan warrior, shattering the ribs of his opponent. The crowd, witnessing this severe injury, reacts appropriately. Unfortunately, Tate and Kyoji used to try to kill each other a few centuries ago, so once the master awakens his student's sleeping spirit, he makes it clear that you and I are enemies now. The first few episodes have Kyoji and Tate's fiancée Yuka become allies and travel to Peru seeking answers, but they take a wrong turn and accidentally end up in a pre-rendered PlayStation 1 cutscene. While the pair wander around Peru, the majority of which is apparently a giant desert, Tate begins to recruit Kyoji's peers to his cause, which is evil. First up is Daimon, who is a selfish dweeb until the plot forces him to realize how much of a selfish dweeb he is. Towards the end, he takes off his shirt and he is ripped. I think that was the most shocking twist in the whole story. Actually, for this video, I think I'm gonna do something different for reaction shots. These Malcolm in the Middle promotional photos will do a much better job expressing my moment-to-moment emotions. I can't forget to mention Shiogami, who you know is the best character because he gets to swear the most. He looks like a Yakuza member, he sounds like a chain smoker, and talks like he's going to steal your lunch money. For the first 8 episodes, all Shiogami does is attempt to epically murder his bros without a motivation, and gets all the best lines while doing so.
All those people in the town are probably very bad. I imagine pathetic, being saved by a woman.
Even when he does get a motivation, basically nothing about him changes. The dude is out for blood no matter what, and I love how the show always treats him so seriously. Shiogami also has a sister named Alila, who is a forgettable servant to Tate until it's revealed that she wants her sleeping soul to be reawakened so that she can have an excuse for wanting to date her brother. Oh, word? This is making me uncomfortable. I feel like I should be watching something more wholesome. Maybe another Fox show, like Arrested Development?
George Michael had been nursing an impossible crush. It was on his cousin, maybe.
Whoa! Let's get back on topic.
Look, it's Malcolm in the Middle.
Alongside Yuka, Kyoji is assisted by Mountain Dan and Seino. Despite his name, Dan is a pretty down-to-earth guy, and he plays off the more serious characters pretty well. He's even got one of the funnier line readings in the whole show.
Ah, you went to South America, didn't you? How was the coffee?
I like him a lot. I would totally wear a t-shirt that says, I'm a fan of Mountain Dan. Also, I know he looks a little like Brock from Pokemon. They both enjoy snacking on jelly-filled donuts, too.
These donuts are great. Jelly-filled are my favorite. Nothing beats a jelly-filled donut.
Seino is only brought in to fill out the team. He's introduced as the Bug Kid, because every squad has one, and he's able to summon black butterflies to swarm opponents. It's symbolism, I guess. Going back to the vocal direction, here's what Seino sounds like.
All the insects in Mount Asa are... Ah! But you're still hurt. You can't. Have you heard of Atahualpa?
Yeah, the voice acting in the English dub isn't very strong. For most of the actors, this was one of their first or only anime roles, so I don't blame them for having weak performances. There's moments where I'm not really sure what they were going for that are marvelous to watch out of context.
Oh. Yes, that was the beginning of our dark fate.
To my surprise, the newscaster who briefly appears in episode 9 was voiced by Greg Wiseman, the showrunner of Gargoyles, Young Justice, and The Spectacular Spider-Man. It turns out that in the late 90s and early 2000s, Wiseman voice directed the English dub of 3x3 Eyes, which was produced by Pioneer Entertainment alongside Nazca. This explains why a few actors from Gargoyles appeared in some of their dubs, like Don Adcock, the voice of Shiogami 511. According to Wiseman, Rick Simone, who played Dan, is responsible for producing the opening title sequences for various primetime series, and according to him, that is why Nazca is in the intro to Malcolm in the Middle. Turns out the answer to my question was buried in a 21-year-old forum post all along. As for the original context of these clips, that brings us to episode 3. It's time for the moment you've been waiting for. The skateboarding kid belongs to a gang of street punks that show up out of nowhere to beat up Daimon, although he was assured to Dan earlier, so he kind of deserved what was coming to him.
Relax. Eat a cookie. There. I am not very hungry. Excuse me.
As more souls are reawakened, we get a number of flashbacks to the previous incarnations of the characters in Incan times. Honestly, I kind of tune out during these bits, because they're often flashy sequences with little plot significance. It's like the ultimate shot from the Malcolm in the Middle story Reese comes home, where you can see the stand-in for Dewey before they fixed it and grubbed him out. The show's telling me that this Dewey is supposed to be Dewey Prime, but to me, that just ain't Dewey. Also, all the Incan versions of the cast have different names that are used interchangeably from the start, which made it harder to tell who's who, especially when the series began. At the end of this one, Kyoji returns home,
ZeroLynx
and he's just on a little
won't
stroll in the rain, minding his own business when suddenly there's a man behind him and he's got a blade! Oh no, Kyoji! Kyoji is dead, except for the 9 other episodes in which he's alive. He never brings this scene up again, and there it is, baby. Shiogami was the mysterious anime man all along. Mystery solved. Unfortunately, that's about as good as it gets. So, episode 4 introduces more reawakened spirits, and all these kids need haircuts. Both Yuka and Kyoji seemingly accept the Tate they knew is gone for good, and they're both depressed about it. This is when it hit me that I had 8 more episodes of this to go, and that realization hit me hard.
Well, I think she bears a resemblance to you.
No, No, she doesn't! In episode 5, Tate and the boys have really gone and done it now. They've begun to tap into the great power of Iriatese and destroyed an entire mountainside town, killing tens of thousands in the name of cleansing the world and shipping it to fit their own ambitions. With all the heroes and villains converging in one place, it's time for Kyoji's team to stack their abilities together and show Tate what happens when you reject the past and choose your own destiny. After all,
Future's now, old man.
at least that's what I think the intended message is. At this point in Asuka, it's hard to tell. Dan and Seino casually reject conforming to the past, simply because they don't want to, while Yuka and Daimon struggle to choose their alignment when that conflicts with their previous lives. The bulk of episode 6 has the whole cast square off, and for the most part, both sides are evenly matched. It's like it doesn't matter how much someone's past information is
ZeroLynx
from their present
also.
selves until the
Zero
plot says it
refreshments.
matters.
Yeah, no, me.
I don't want to hit women, but you forced me to.
Tate realizes that he needs Yuka by his side to finally release Iriatese, so he uses ancient memories to manipulate her into switching sides. The dialogue found here is a little on the nose.
I accept everything about you.
Now, Tate's a terrorist and a genuinely horrible person. It's an uncomfortable plot twist, especially because any agency that the female lead had is completely removed.
Yeah, I mean,
but I
probably
guess
still
it
got
does
the
make this villain more intimidating. Tate has truly surpassed the point of redemption. Wait a minute, why does this image look all smug and sarcastic?
This time I'm going to beat you. This time I won't let you take her away from me.
This line here gives off the implication that Kyoji has a crush on Yuka, but neither this, nor the fact that Tate thinks genocide is A-okay, is enough for Yuka to question siding with her purple-haired fiancé. It even takes 2 episodes for the rest of the world to recognize Tate's magical murdering tour. It's not like Yuka's morals suddenly take a 180, as she's pressured to betray Kyoji over multiple encounters, but never wants to directly hurt him and his friends. However, Yuka basically loses her personality when defecting, mainly becoming a vehicle for exposition. In fact, lots of side characters get the shaft. Dan, Yubila, Kyoji's family, and other friends who added nothing to the plot, so I neglected to mention them until now, and Seino. After all, someone's got to stay behind to open the magic portal that takes all the important people to the final battle. It feels like the Incan flashbacks
Zero
take too much
still
screen
here?
time, where one party spends most of an episode regrouping,
Yeah.
so the heroes and villains
Maybe
don't
he
face each other
meant
until the
forced
final
quit.
minutes.
Maybe-
Having more chapters that directly lead into
well.
each other would have helped streamline the plot, because there's elements
It
that are either
works.
unnecessary or
I have to
repetitive,
go live for
or
10
sometimes
seconds for that?
episode
What the
9.
hell?
Okay, for the record, I didn't know. I was freaking ass sometimes.
Tate and his terrible trio recruit a new member, a priest
I
who can steal
protest
other
earlier.
people's souls after healing them. That's a rad concept that enhances the conflict, and I was excited to see it fleshed
This
out beyond
whole
this
anime,
introduction. But
one
then he turned into
single frame and
another
Malcolm in the
vehicle for
middle.
exposition, and I was
Wow.
sad. It's no wonder that I started to find this character relatable when she popped up.
I am going to die.
If there's any part of Nazca I recommend you personally seek out, it's the soundtrack. The series doesn't have an ever-changing score, instead using heavily repeated cues to set the tone, but the compositions have loads of variety. The opening contains an operatic rendition of a classic Bach tune in G minor, foreshadowing how Dewey's love of classical music would lead him to write
This
an
was
opera
made
in the
the
season
same-
6 episode,
released the same
Dewey's
year as
Opera.
Bebop.
What a masterful piece of continuity.
Are
The
you
classic
crazy?
versions are tracks that sound like they fit right into a very specific
Mario going
90s
to
video
jail.
game. There's a confused version of Ocarina of Time's boss battle theme.
Yes. Wait, what
There's a
anime is that? Holy
variation of the
crap.
Final Fantasy IV theme that sounds like a Nintendo 64 game.
Nazca.
Nazca. After the lines.
This was legit from only a frame of, literally like a frame of animation that was shown in Malcolm in the Middle.
Just a frame.
Yeah.
That's how bad it was?
No, I got shown in the intro for Malcolm in the Middle.
And then there's a bootleg of Dance of the Sugar Plum Fairies. You know, from Tetris.
What the hell is this
Nazca's
soundtrack?
composer wrote the score to the Professor Layton anime film and arranged orchestral versions of Final Fantasy VI's music. So clearly he was familiar with the world of Japanese game OSTs. Maybe these soundalikes were the result of temp tracks being closely followed. Who knows? The official soundtrack features plenty of music that didn't pop up in the dub I watched, but it excluded the ending theme. I like how it nicely transitions into the credits, but the instrumentation reminds me a little too much of a 90s educational VHS tape. Holidays for Children
Oh,
type
come
thing.
on. Well, I'm not gonna lie. That's pretty accurate.
Everybody loves a holiday.
'Cause I
Everybody loves
was
a
born in the 90s.
celebration. One thing that Nazca certainly
I
does
was
better
born
than
in the
Malcolm in the
80s,
Middle
so
is
this is like
animation.
I don't want
Sure,
to
it
live
may be a live action show, but lest we forget the promo they did for Fox's animation domination block.
Yep.
No, cool, I know. Isn't
I
this
didn't
great?
see that.
What have you done? My butt look big.
I both love and hate
For
this.
what?
Oh, we're cartoons. Science boy genius. Nothing about the character designs feels super unique to the show. The few environments
Wait,
that have
they
the
made
rendered
animated
CGI are
version of Malcolm?
constantly reused, and
No,
close-up
that was
shots
just
take
for the
distracting
prototype.
shortcuts to not animate the characters. They
I
pull
like
the camera really far back, focus on the sky as someone walks, or just hold on a still pose, which happens in episode 10 for 25 whole seconds. I don't blame the animation team for cutting corners here and there, especially after I looked into how this production was organized. With this being a decades-old Japanese product, I wasn't able to track down any interviews or behind-the-scenes info, so the credits were all I had to go off of. A few years back, my friend Red, formerly RoboBuddies, did a solid video explaining why the animation in the anime Sonic X was flawed from a studio standpoint, and lo and behold, these two shows have a lot of similarities with how their productions were structured. And yes, I am talking about Sonic in yet another video. If Malcolm can shoehorn him in, then so can I. While there were plenty of seasoned animation directors behind Nazca, all series outsourced the in-between animation. That's the responsibility of drawing poses that fill in gaps between the main keyframes to 16 different studios instead of like 3 or 4. And that's across only 12 episodes compared to Sonic X's 78. This reeks of cost cutting and could have created plenty of communication issues between everyone involved. Only a single in-between checker, that's the person who makes sure that the in-between drawings are on model and consistent between key poses, was on staff, as opposed to the standard number of 6 or 7. I imagine that it was a nightmare for one person to approve the work of all these different studios on a tight schedule. But for all I know, there were other factors at play that I can't recognize from just looking at a list of names. At the end of the day, Nazca is miles more on-model and visually inspired than the majority of Sonic X, despite their similar weaknesses production-wise. They may share a habit of having underwhelming, repetitive, greased, and shoppily animated fights, but the former has the upper hand by being more cinematic. All things considered, this series doesn't look half bad, and at the very least, most of the staging is solid. If you're willing to sit through some decent material, you'll find great-looking dolly zooms, first-person shots, and even a motif with Daimon. A lot of his shots are framed through an eye, or play with the reflection in his glasses, so it makes sense that his arc is about Tate's illusions of grandeur, literally clouding his views of what's right and wrong. I also dig the numerous scenes set against the sunrise or sunset, making certain moments much more dynamic, even if nothing is actually happening. The exception is episode 9, where there's a little glow around the characters that looks like they were edited onto a background with a green screen, but that could just be an artifact of the low-quality DVD rip I watched. Nazca isn't currently available to stream or download, and if you want to own it, you'll have to make do with the out-of-print home releases that split 12 episodes into 4 separate discs. For the sake of keeping it accessible and high quality, I hope this anime gets re-released at some point. Same goes for Malcolm getting a full physical release in the United States. Although if that ever happens, I'd want its own Japanese dub to be included as well.
電話以外の慰めを見つけるしかないんじゃない
What the hell?
Okay.
I think I've actually seen that
Episode
anime.
10, things began to heat up, with a couple of
But
atmospheric and somber scenes, so I was getting into it. After lots of recruiting and scheming, Tate and Tate's friends are ready to make their evil ambitions a reality. Just as Daimon starts to see the error of his ways. He ends up helping Kyoji heal, tries to double-cross Tate, and even sacrifices himself to protect his friend. He may have been a jerk at first, but Daimon honestly had the most compelling character arc in the whole. Never mind, he's still alive somehow. At least he fared far better than Yuka. The most notable thing she does towards the end is appear naked in one of Kyoji's visions.
Yay!
Girl power! During the penultimate episode, most of the principal characters are transported back in time for reasons that are never explained. And Tate sees this as an opportunity to rewrite the future. Finally bringing the present to the past is a natural way to frame the final battle. Kyoji and Tate's climactic duel has plenty of impressively detailed and fluid shots, but I thought it was a little too frantic and hard to read.
Frank, yeah?
Did he win?
I don't know.
This showdown is what all 12 episodes have been building to, but I feel like I've already seen it 12 times because almost every shot of a character used in the intro originated here. Over the course of the fight, Kyoji seemingly has a change of heart towards his opponent.
I'm going to kill you.
5 minutes later.
I can't. I won't do this after all this. Chicken.
I still don't respect this.
Now, it's previously made clear that Kyoji ultimately wants to help Tate
job
overcome
is
the
so
darkness and
horrible.
take control of him. But just like the unclear extent of his effect
This was
towards
released
Yuka,
the same
their
year as
mentorship
Cowboy
for the
Bebop.
inciting incident of the
Cowboy
series is
Bebop actually had more emotion than their dubbing, man.
So it isn't obvious that there's some good left in Tate
everything's
outside of when
perfect in
Kyoji
Bebop.
makes that claim.
Yeah.
Kyoji was moved to spare
Okay.
Tate because he admitted to his mistakes.
You want to see a really...
Putting all these semi-successful
Dub-
plans to cleanse humanity
Try
aside.
one of their, there's so much anime. I got one called Space Train.
Oh, there's no telling how much anime there is out there.
Oh, I know
One
much. I got
that
some.
literally is the worst ever.
Actually, you want to know what the Japanese thought was so bad? They just said, okay, you guys dub it, say whatever you want. The American dub was so good that the Japanese redubbed it to our lines. Ghost stories.
Damn.
It was so bad in Japanese that the Japanese told the Americans just do whatever you want.
Frick.
He literally calls Kyoji a fool for believing in him. Then, all of a sudden,
Well,
Tate leaps
we
into
did
the
kinda
air and
help them with their
sacrifices
research
himself to stop Yurei from being
after
released.
the war,
He takes
so-
Shinigami with him, which is probably for the greater good. But
Well, not researching, but we helped them bounce back.
He obviously deserved to live.
Come on, get up, get up.
There's no dialogue after
Well, Well, think about it this way.
So we don't get to hear anyone
If we
reflect
didn't
on
bomb
his
them,
decision
we
to
wouldn't
stop
have
his own
Godzilla.
evil plan. But the lighting and bittersweet story
Well,
bring this as a heroic
yeah,
moment.
Godzilla
This
looks like a
reinforces the overarching theme of breaking
nuclear
the
power
power.
thing of what
justifies the
nuclear
redemption
war
of a
is.
truly despicable villain like
Yeah.
Dante.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
we
read
didn't
the
bomb
Does
them.
not understand the ending of Steven
So
Universe.
guess what?
If you want an
You're
animated
welcome
series
to
that
that
handles
with
the
Jimmy
student teacher dynamic
Yeah.
much better, go watch season 1 of Invincible on Amazon Prime. It's got better written drama, fight scenes
Oh,
that
and
last
blah,
more than
blah,
a minute,
blah.
and characters that look straight out of
despises
What
anime
Morgan
in general.
No, wait, Zero. It's around. Hold up.
was episode question every time I started an episode of Fox's angsty early 2000s family sitcom.
Yes, no, maybe.
That frame.
Yeah. See, that's a cool
That
frame,
frame was in every intro to Malcolm in the Middle.
And they're like, what anime is that from? Makes comedy.
Yeah.
You know they had to use a lot of low budget animation stuff when they put it in the intro, actually. Like, for shows,
Who
even the
is
one,
this mysterious anime man? Lenti.
that too, is an old B movie.
Yeah, it is.
That's when you can tell the editors got lazy. Like, let's just throw this in here. It looks cool. That was a couple American.
Have you heard of the anime Crying Freeman?
Wait, what? Which one?
Hold on.
All I know is I get the Otaku anime box every fucking month. Crying Freeman. I have not.
They made into a film in 1995, starring, I think it was later on Hawaii Five-O. I don't know. He was in a lot of stuff in another piece. Mark, that's...
Go this.
Okay.
Reaching straight to the bottom of the barrel for this one, folks. Are you serious? Welcome to WatchMojo.com. And today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 anime that just plain suck. Before we begin, we publish
Gundam.
videos every day, so be sure to subscribe for more great content.
No, that was one of
We're
the
looking at anime that
series
are regarded as the worst, either due to their poor production quality or terrible narratives. There might be a couple of spoilers along the way, but come on, do you really care? Number 10, Susachi Gundo. This one falls right into the so bad it's good category. Yeah,
It's a good summary.
However, since the series
Well, yeah, that
for
just...
how much of a negative reception it got, it's fair to say
Are
this
there
was a
any
potential
anime that involve the Yakuza?
The story itself
Surely
is
there has to be.
inspired with a gun-wielding samurai
Yeah,
warrior
that
traveling
one
through
sucked.
Japan taking out monsters. Fun stuff.
With
Unfortunately,
the guns and the animation sucks so bad for that.
its animation is
Sure,
horrendous.
Gundam?
The backgrounds
Yeah,
look like they're taken
folks.
from Google Images. The sound quality is always dipping out.
Even it doesn't even match up at all with the backdrop. Shittiest
Number 9,
anime.
Government Crime Investigation Agent Saizen Jotaro.
What? That's just a footnote.
That's a mouthful. No, yeah, GCA.
Unintentional hilarity is the name of the game when it comes to this series. Something you probably don't want when you're trying to create a detective thriller about government corruption. However, very poor animation quality, and a Gary Stu lead character who's pretty much just super James Bond. That's exactly what you get.
I liked it because I thought it was funny.
The action has no impact, and the character has no likability. So all that we're left with is a dull set
Yeah, that says it in here.
getting invested into this.
And I'm somebody that doesn't watch anime.
Number 8.
I like anime.
There's some good anime. The sister of a friend that I went to school with the whole idea of anime, he was my Christian.
This is not one of those cases. Especially when you start your series
I mean,
with your
I like anime so much I have figurines from a lot of them.
Well, I think it depends on the anime, because there's like explicit anime, and then there's anime that's more.
but it's far from interesting.
I have a lot from high
It's a
school.
ball for it soon afterwards. Sure. Okay. Number 7, Superior Defender Gundam Force.
Drop your weapon.
Wait,
The
what?
series meant to celebrate 25 years of the Gundam franchise? Well, that sounds pretty awesome. So, what are you going to give us?
What was the name of that one?
Crossover with the main pilots? No. Instead, we get a watered-down 3D version aimed at very,
Oh.
very young audiences.
Yeah, okay, yeah.
Captain's back! Yay, Captain's back!
CGI.
Captain's back!
Which is a...
That's a messed up
in and of
CGI
itself,
Gundam.
considering the whole backbone of Gundam
That's
is based
FD
around the
Gundam now.
repercussions of conflict and war, which are, mature subjects.
And the funny thing
Most
is,
are set
the
in.
Gundam,
The animation is just ugly to behold.
that Gundam looks like the Gundam
and a
GPO1.
celebration of such a beloved franchise. Number 6,
Yeah.
Generation of Chaos. Animated tie-ins to video games are a common thing these days, and take it seriously.
Okay,
Enjoy
that
them alright.
animation doesn't look too bad.
In the space of a single episode, all this prologue manages to do is waste everybody's time and probably put you off to buy the game. We get a glimpse at what
I would buy it.
soon will be our main cast, but, barely anything happens. Just a lot of badly animated walking and talking that fails to bring the world that these cardboard kind of characters inhabit to life. For a supposed generation filled with it, don't see a lot of chaos going on here, guys.
So have you watched Hackaway yet?
vampire home.
That's a
What is
Because
this?
that's what one of fiction's greatest detectives was missing. He needed more vampires. Though, what do we expect from an anime based on a smartphone app? What little the series could have offered is quickly flushed away when you find out that the series doesn't actually solve cases.
Just like the movie based on emojis. It sucks. And I didn't have to watch that emoji to know that.
The show itself just a plan to
By the way, I never saw it, but I knew it was gonna suck.
What, Hathaway?
No, the emoji movie.
Where's the real Ryuko?
Oh, I never, yeah.
Without watching it, you can tell.
I've definitely heard of this one.
Do yourself a favor and avoid this one because we definitely are ready to experience this level of insanity. After being informed by a cancerous growth that a demonic army is about to invade Earth, a lone surgeon is imbued with superhuman strength and sent thousands of years into the past in order to defeat it. If that doesn't
I am a super surgeon.
other accolades will. Editing that moves all over the place, a story that doesn't really go beyond muscular physician punches demon, and a whole slew of unwarranted sex scenes complete with synth music. You don't have to be psychic to figure out how bad
There's nothing wrong with the sex scene.
Skelter Heaven.
Oh god.
Like,
This one blows.
That looked like a meteor rise one.
Look at the
When an alien
CG.
object appears over Tokyo, it's down to a group of young ladies in scantily clad uniforms piloting horribly animated mechs to defeat it. What may work for a JRPG clearly doesn't translate well to the screen in this instance, as the alien menace is almost always overshadowed by the much more prominent problem of which of the underdeveloped characters is the bland male lead going to try to romance.
あなたの命令に従ってきたのはそう作られたからじゃない
Kirby's, that's all I say,
あ
man.
なたのことが
Number 2, humor. Prepare yourselves, people, because this is where things get really, really ugly. When a virus is unleashed on the populace, an affected brother and sister find themselves in something of a perpetual hell which they're forced to witness. This includes watching the older brother get dissected.
Ours are destruction. Holy shit!
Considered an epic failure in anime. The quote, story follows your typical protagonist, complete with troubled past, and finds himself as the only one capable of defending the Earth from an alien invasion. So, how does it hold up? Well, characters are definitive in paper. It's got below subpar anime.
Can be found in these early episodes. The price that Nickelodeon is the only one to have practice for most CGI, but even remotely as fondly as I did when I was in its target demographic.
Cat. Got the flag there, my friend.
Original manga, but it looks an awful lot like he's just taking pictures of models and inserting them into the series. It doesn't look bad, it just looks odd. Something looks off about it. Maybe it's just the budget talking, but the combination of everyone being naked all the time and the way things are posted just such
Well,
a
I
way
wasn't aware of that.
suspicious. It's not exactly an easy thing to pull off, and obviously the artwork has some merit to it. Since it looks good and it moves pretty well, I just have to wonder how much of this is the artist's own skill or just a very impressive ability to copy models near exactly. So our plotline is divided into 6 episodes of roundabouts an hour. They're all fairly separate from each other, but the whole thing gets started like this. Yo Hinamura is an assassin for the 108 Dragons, or some sort of Chinese underworld society. They're exceptionally well equipped with weapons, hypnotists, and a submarine that they all like to hang out on and forget to put pants on. Seriously,
Wait, what?
Do you know the theme song? The actual beginning theme song for this? You know what it's from?
Wait, where?
The intro to this video.
Oh, not freak.
Yeah, it's C28.
Oh.
Like, it's from a video game. It's actually an old video game with an awesome soundtrack. I just want to know if you actually can catch it. This, right here. This song right here.
Front what? It's not like it's from someone from Sonic or something.
No, it's from a game that's similar to Mortal Kombat. You ever hear of a game called Killer Instinct?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
That's the song for it.
But I am. The reason that stopped me from just reviewing
I'm an 80s kid, I should know this shit.
It's constant and omnipresent. In addition to being hypnotized into killing people in the buff, he also cries after he gets done murdering them. Because he longs to be a free man. And so we have a title. Cool. Alright, fine, there are dumber names for anime out there, but seriously. Yo is set to go kill Emu Hino, who is just the ugliest fucking character.
What?
Seriously, she's got man jaw, she's got a 5-head, she wears glasses that she stole from Yoli from Digimon.
Okay. Well, he just did a bad job, I guess.
Several times. Everyone's very shocked that she's lonely and not married, and, well, apparently Yo likes his women with lantern jaws and receding hairlines. I love you.
Oh my gosh, this is wrong.
Emu saw Yo kill someone, that's a big no-no, so he has to go take her out. But somewhere along the telephone game to tell Yo what to do, apparently fucking kill her became fucking and kill her. So even though having sex with an actual emu would be much more enjoyable to watch, he
What?
gives into her wish to get a good solid dicking before he kills her. But then he falls in love with her and takes her back to his submarine so they can get married and take over the One-Away Dragons. He's got dragon tattoos, and he put some tiger tattoos on her, so it all kind of meant... Wait.
Well, that's kind of an initiation that people in the Yakuza do. Except they do it, make it to where it won't show if a man's shirt is open. Whoa, wait. Okay. Are we having Vietnam flashbacks?
Oh, I see it. Boom. Wait, what? Yep.
Vietnam
More than
flashbacks.
anything else, the biggest problem that I'm seeing with this right now is that as I'm trying to explain it, I keep thinking of poorly written fan fiction. Not that it's so bad, but things just happen because reasons pretty often in the show. When it's really easy to explain this in a derpy teenager voice, there's trouble. Here, let me put it to you like this. Alright, so like there's this dude named Yo, and he's like an assassin. He's like really sad, he cries every time.
Oh my god.
And stuff. So like he sees
Oh,
this girl named Emu, or like Emu, or like something like that, and she sees him kill somebody. Like like he has to go kill her, and she's like, no, please take me, I'm like a virgin and stuff. And he's like, alright, I'll fucking do you. And they like totally bang out. And then he like falls in love with her, and they try to take over the world again. Yeah. The more detail it's immediately...
It does sound like
the less
that.
nuance the story tends to have. This is not to say that nuance is a necessity for quality, but...
Maybe the movie is a bit better.
And you know, for someone who regrets killing people all the time, Yo's...
And I've never seen it either, but I just heard of it because I was like,
that's all part of the hypnosis.
I figured it'd be
Everything he does actually stem from free will. Is his relationship with
Oh, are you talking with a nice
because he's
sensor in the fucking
hypnotized.
head?
yeah, I know.
Questions
Like,
for,
you
never be answered
have
adequately
believed
because
me.
that
I will
was
die now.
all the sex
I
and
don't understand why I'm talking.
Okay, so you and Emu take on new Chinese names and take over the One-Away Dragons.
I'm
Now
not
there are people all over the
Chinese.
place who want them dead because of more reasons. And the first one is the kid
Who
of
made
the
this?
tiger. Shit.
Oh my gosh, okay, that's funny.
This tubby bowling ball of a creature makes me wonder who okayed this whole ordeal to begin with. I'm almost irritated on behalf of fat people. And of course, because it's not enough for this to be fat, she has to be ugly and obnoxious too. Now, I get it that it was the 80s and stock characters were perfectly acceptable because everyone was on coke, but goddamn. Oh, and as an added bit of trivia, she was voiced by Dope Matsumoto, a lady wrestler. It's like asking Yokozuna to play a big fat dude that eats all the time in the movie.
Oh.
Anyway, Freeman fights one of her assassins and gets her on his side. And now she treats him like a big brother or something fucking weird. Ugh. This dude is surrounded by women who worship him. It's like an MRA's wet dream. He has no defining characteristics other than he occasionally looks sad, and then he, like, kicks the shit out of people. And it just continues on and on and on. Freeman meets someone who wants to kill him, who's inevitably female. They fall for him, and there's lots of nudity and gore, and then the episode ends. Kazuo Koike, who wrote Lone Wolf and Cub, got pretty famous for his unflinching depiction of human Japan. His stories had a lot of intrigue and a lot of blood and guts. This does not have the same resonance of that particular piece of work. But perhaps I'm getting ahead of myself. So once he solidifies power by just determining that he is the leader now, he gets into a battle with a group called the African Tusk, with their Amazonian warrior woman named...
Wow, I didn't know that this was very explicit.
I literally can't make this shit up. They fight. She falls in love with him. Problem solved. Good God.
Oh my
Again,
gosh,
I'm
this is...
oversimplifying.
Okay, so it's
There's a bit
predictable at
more
this
to than
moment.
Just fighting and fucking. Very good God. Not a lot. There's a whole lot of sexism and racism and a whole lot of other isms going on here.
By the way, again, I knew nothing about this
Really
except
want to touch it.
I just figured it'd be
So
interesting
somewhere in this endless cycle
to
of
compare
fighting,
this and the
fighting,
film.
fucking
And I've
all
heard the
over
film
place.
because I
There's a
found out,
novel story
wait,
about
that actor, I've
Andy's
seen him in
sword
something.
Taking her clothes off because reasons. This happens so she can look cool, like, once. Otherwise, it's just Freeman murdering people and women with their busters out. It's just omnipresent. Why? I get the representation of bearing one's true self, disrobing, being some sort of act of whatever. But when one of the antagonists is a woman who masturbates while Freeman fights her men, I don't think we're worried about what fucking symbolism is here.
Yeah, I think
Goodness
whoever made
screaming
this...
hell. Is this it? Well, yeah, kinda. This is a very distinct flavor to it, of the 80s style that doesn't really care. Not that they don't care about making a good product, but Freeman knows exactly what kind of story he wants to tell.
Holy crap.
Damn the consequences and damn the critique. To put this in perspective, in modern shows with a lot of fan services, a lot of teasing and playing around with it, and of course most of the women look like weird little dough ball creatures when they're used to the Conroe.
Yeah, but it's just...
Freeman, there's no sorts of, haha, oops, saw you make it, or, oh no, someone looked at
No,
my
it's just
tits.
there.
Just imagine a guy sitting in a smoke-filled room, stubbing
Oh,
out his
it's a
cigar
brand
and
new
saying,
scene.
Yeah, I can see that.
to himself. There's a strange purity to this sort of thing, where they do, indeed, not give a damn if it's sexist or racist or whatever, because they just want to make their weird, schlocky, but also really dark story about a guy with no pants and murder and rape. It stands as a shining example of this testosterone-filled, Arnold Schwarzenegger, hyper-macho, coke-fueled 80s bullshit, and really, few other examples of this sort of storytelling exist anymore. Basically, any criticism I could level at it is almost immediately deflected because of the piece who doesn't give a fuck. This series is so very, completely unself-conscious of what it is, so completely without irony or concern for what people might think that it's kind of refreshing. It's still awful, don't get me wrong, but it's still interesting as a piece of history. You really don't make them like this anymore, and I'm still on the fence if that's bad or not. Crying Freeman was successful enough to get a live-action film made out of it, which I'm led to believe is a movie. I don't know, it had Marcus Costas in it. So there you have it. Crying Freeman is a piece from a
Okay, now, there's one on the movie
It is a relatively
that I put.
era.
You got
Most of us
Q.
only kind of remember snatches of. What Crying Freeman can show is that, yes, the world has changed a lot since it was made. Whether that was a
Well,
good
that was during the
or bad
Cold
change,
War,
depends, of
too,
course,
so-
but the world that Freeman was created in and inhabits is a drastic departure from modern times. Even by the time it was finished being created, it was almost outdated. So while the dub is hilariously bad, the animation is stiff of about 85% of the time, and the art style still has me guessing, Crying Freeman is important for people to watch, in the same way that fans of the action genre should watch Die Hard or Predator. You don't have to enjoy it.
Die Hard is
just be
awesome.
aware of it. It did have an impact, even if
I don't know why I
it doesn't
chose,
look
but
like it should
best cartoon
nowadays.
intros ever.
I don't feel like I can give it high marks, though, because I really didn't like large slots.
Today's movie is a special request from Patreon supporter Rob Nasty Rocker, who coincidentally also happens to be a bass player. Anyway, Rob asked me to review the movie Crying Freeman, which is yet another example of the Western adaptation of a popular anime or manga series. And if you know my track record with these movies, so far they haven't exactly been stellar. But hey, the second Guyver movie was pretty good, so who knows, maybe this will actually get things right.
Well, the first Guyver movie came out before the anime, didn't it?
Crying Freeman is a 1995 action movie from French director Christophe Gaunt, who also made the French cult classic The Brotherhood of the Wolf, as well as Silent Hill, and a Beauty and the Beast movie that isn't just a copy of the cartoon version. Crying Freeman is based off of a popular manga, which has also been adapted into an anime series, as well as 2 Hong Kong-produced movies, which actually came out before this one. Now, I'm not familiar with either the manga or the anime, but from what I understand, this is considered one of the better Western adaptations out there, which, of course, means it's also one of the lesser-known ones. In fact, this didn't get an official release in the US until 2018 when Amazon started streaming it. And for the record, even the live-action Fist of the North Star movie managed to get a release in the US.
Wonder what?
Well, I guess it's still more widely available than the 2 Hong Kong versions, so that's something. Fun fact, Crying Freeman is also what fans call it whenever Valve teases making another Half-Life game. The CGI during this title sequence may be pretty dated by today's standards,
yeah, it
but
does.
compared to some other 90s comic book movies, it's not that bad. So, as you would expect for a movie based on a Japanese comic, we open on some white chick's birthday.
What? Okay.
First time in 20 years. I'm alone. See, I met someone. A man.
Oh, well, that's good news. Congratulations.
A killer. And soon he will kill me.
Okay, well, as long as he makes you happy before he kills you. This is Emu O'Hara. Yes, that really is her name. Emu's a professional artist who took a trip to San
this is
Francisco
how
to
Mark
paint, because I
Dacus
guess that's the
and
only place she knows
her
of
met,
trees
and
and
they're
water
married
nearby.
to this
And
day.
just her luck, she's busy trying to paint some happy little trees when she gets interrupted by a John Woo movie. Well, looks like our main
she's
character's
prettier.
arrived, and if you're wondering why the movie's called Crying Freeman,
Yeah.
it's because he feels really sad after he kills somebody. Well, at least he's polite enough to introduce himself after he's killed several people right in front of you.
My name is Yo.
Hey, what's up, Yo? Yo was played by Mark Dacascos, who you might remember from my China Strike Force video. Or maybe you just know him from Iron Chef America. Judging by the comments, that seems to be where most people know him from. Not only is
That,
Yo
I
a
think, is
deadly
the White
assassin,
House.
but he's also apparently Batman. Emu then goes home. I guess witnessing several murders really put a damper on her vacation. Hey, where does she live, anyway? Huh. Okay, usually in the 90s, movies were just filmed in Vancouver. It's kind of nice to see one that actually takes place there.
Oh,
Yo
okay.
also makes his way to Vancouver, but first he's going to have to get through customs. And they do not appreciate people bringing in undeclared fruitcake.
Clay? We're bringing clay into the country?
I'm a potter. See, the trick is to find the right one. I
I actually like
Wait,
that actor.
what?
small pieces.
I like that actor.
Carefully sift them. Miss.
Is there a problem here?
No.
Let that be a lesson, everyone. If you want to smuggle shit into another country, just be dreamy. Good thing that pottery trick worked. Yo was really getting tired of putting his gun in a condom and swallowing it. If you're wondering why Yo's in Vancouver,
my
the guy he killed at the beginning was the son of a powerful Yakuza boss who's also currently in the city meeting with the police. Oh, and there's also another reason he's in Vancouver.
A woman who lives in your city witnessed a murder. Her name is Emu O'Hara. The assassin will come to kill her.
If he was supposed to kill her to eliminate any witnesses, why didn't he just do it then? It's not like there was anybody else around. Waiting several days until she's in another country seems a little sloppy. I gotta admit, for a low-budget movie, this does have a pretty impressive cast. You've got Mako playing the Yakuza boss, Radon Chong, and even Checky Cario playing an Interpol agent.
He was the bad guy in the first Bad Boys movie. He's kind of like a character actor in most English
The
movies.
Chinese emperor.
Unfortunately, it looks like Checky Cario's real voice didn't make it into Canada. Maybe you should have tried flirting with the customs agent. Whoever they got to dub his voice does sound familiar, though. Who is that? Okay,
What?
nice choice. Not quite as awesome as if
I
they
don't know
used
why.
King David, but still pretty good.
He's understandable
Anyway,
in
the Yakuza
English.
boss explains that Yo is an assassin for a Chinese gang called the Sons of the Dragons, known as a Freeman. And he
Wait,
tells the
what the
police
fuck?
to allow him to kill Emu, or else he'll start a gang war. Hopefully this one will be a little better choreographed than the last one I covered. Joke's on the
my.
Yakuza, though. Turns out Yo's on his way to assassinate them. Either that or he's about to audition for Slipknot. Oh, and remember when I mentioned John Woo
It does.
earlier? Something tells me Kristoff might have been a fan of his. I mean, he seems to have most of his tricks down. The slow-mo, the over-the-top gunplay. All that's missing are some doves. Oh, wait, I forgot we're in Vancouver, so it'd probably be Canada geese. Well, I see Mako's done with his cameo. Better get the hell out of here. Yo, how's it going? They were right about one thing. Yo is under strict orders to kill Emu, although he sure keeps missing his chances. Yo, however, has second thoughts. He's a real sucker for anyone who makes fan art of him. Meanwhile, the police are gonna have some questions for Emu. Yo, what's up?
This is Japanese name. Is he Japanese?
Technically, Mark DeCascos is Hawaiian-Irish-Japanese, but close
Yeah,
enough.
he is.
The police
I
want to
thought it was
find Yo, or else the Yakuza will start a gang war, so better just do what the criminals tell you. You know, for somebody who just paints trees, Emu has a really nice
Gosh,
house.
that is
Just imagine if she also
wonderful.
had an
That is not
ASMR
what you're
channel.
talking
Hey, thanks for
about.
coming by. I was waiting for just the right dramatic moment to reveal myself. Even if this movie does veer a little close to being pretentious at times, it's at least making the effort to be stylish and artistic, as opposed to this, which felt like a generic direct-to-video movie. Emu's in luck, though. Instead of killing her, Yo's only interested in slaying something else. He really puts
Yeah,
the
slay
ass in
what's
assassin,
right.
which seems to be a common thing for Mark DeCascos. Alright, time to show Emu his Yo face. Meanwhile, some Yakuza thugs show up to take out the Freeman, and I really gotta give it to Mark DeCascos. Not many guys can look tough while wearing a jockstrap. Still, the smart assassin
Well, he
always
also
remembers
does
to bring
martial arts.
backup.
and how
That's for cock blocking me, motherfucker. Yo's partner also tells him to finish off Emu, but he just can't bring himself to do it. It is really hard to kill somebody when you still have a boner. Also, how the hell is this guy still alive?
There's no way. It's just like in the scene. It's just like, yeah.
Oh, okay, that answers that. Yo's partner is still upset he refuses to finish off Emu, but Mark DeCascos can't kill her. That's his future wife.
3 days later, I woke in the hospital.
They actually did marry in real life, and they still are married. Which,
Chance to ask
yay!
his forgiveness.
Yeah, and that was just when he was supposed to be getting his tonsils taken out. You might want to move to a different hospital. If the director truly is a John Woo fan, then the last 40 minutes of the movie is just going to be one long shootout in this hospital. Nope, never mind. Looks like Emu's made her escape. Better go after her, fellas. Damn, I knew the Vancouver Police Department shouldn't have used movie cars for their squad cars. And I guess that's it for Radon Chong. I think she had more lines in that Tales from the Dark Side segment where she played a gargoyle. Emu makes her way to Japan in order to find Yo. Meanwhile, I think the Yakuza guy from earlier is busy trying to make his own John Woo movie. Either that or he's weirdly foreshadowing the Matrix with all this green-colored tinting. He also declares war on the Sons of the Dragons unless they deliver the Freeman to him. Whatever, I think this guy's just jealous that Yo's back tattoo is cooler than his. Also, I'm not sure if the Sons of the Dragons leader is supposed to be Pai Mei or the Crypt Keeper. Alright, well, as long as this means they hire Billy Zane to kill the Freeman, I'm okay with it. Meanwhile, I see Emu's found Yo. Now they can reenact that famous scene from Ghost. First, though, Yo's got to explain his origin.
Who would ever guess that? Executioner. The Sons of the Dragon. It's just a simple honor. 7 years ago was my first exhibition. This work was my 15 minutes of fame.
Ah, yes, the fast, intoxicating world of professional pottery. The drugs, the money,
Okay.
the women. Yeah, it was fun at first, but eventually I found myself yearning for something more. So that's when I decided to become a professional killer. Turns out everything changed when Yo witnessed a murder at one of his shows, so I guess he really is like an art gallery version of Batman. Okay, actually he found some evidence of some of the Sons of the Dragon's criminal activities, and as a result, they kidnapped him and brainwashed him into becoming an assassin for him. And they must have used some pretty powerful drugs on him, too. Okay, I would have preferred if Ray Harryhausen brought that thing to life, but still pretty unexpected. Selecting Yo to be their Manchurian candidate was a big improvement for the Sons of the Dragons. Their last assassin was just some random artist they found on DeviantArt.
Who sent these clowns?
The Grim Reaper, asshole. Okay, as much as I make fun, I gotta admit that was pretty badass. You know, even though the Sons of the Dragons brainwashed Yo into killing for him, it's still kinda his fault for being the most jacked pottery maker that's ever lived. And for the next part of his training, Asian John Waters here is gonna force him to eat a panda turd on
Oh
camera.
my god.
Come on, he's gotta cry whenever he kills somebody. I mean, it is part of the title. And despite being a crack assassin, Yo's peripheral vision ain't exactly the greatest. Yo's guide tells him to eliminate the Yakuza boss that declared war on the Sons of the Dragons earlier. You know, if you're already disobeying your programming, you could just kill this guy and go into hiding with Emu. But nah, might as well go to where the Yakuza are. Look, even Checky Cario's there. Hopefully you remember to brush up on his Japanese. Ooh, busted.
Okay, so we got two
Despite this,
dubbing?
though, Detective Nita still seems pretty confident.
Yeah, there's some
You should
dubbing.
knock on the door. If I could, Ryuji, I would knock your head
What
off.
did they
Don't
do
make me
wrong?
stand here while you point guns at me
It's just
again,
not needed.
asshole. So it turns out Ryuji set up Mako's family to get assassinated so he could become the head of the Yakuza. And Nita wants to get the Freeman, but he also has the hots for Ryuji's wife. But it turns out she really wants to be the leader of the Yakuza. Even though I'm not familiar with the manga, this does seem to be trying to condense a whole lot of plot into one movie, which makes it similar to a lot of genuine anime
Okay,
films.
okay,
Come
okay.
on, Nita, you should have known this was a setup.
To rape the wife of a Yakuza boss is a very serious crime.
I think just rape in general is a serious crime. Meanwhile, Yo makes his way
Yep.
to Ryuji. You can tell he's in disguise because
Yep.
he's wearing a mustache. And I'm noticing a common
Like
theme
he's
for how
a
these guys kill people.
Just saying. Seriously, the women in that kind of
They really seem to
culture,
like burning people
they
with
can be
alcohol.
tough.
Alright, time to John Woo the hell out of this Yakuza gang. Well, it's pretty clear what Christoph Gahn's influences are during these action scenes. At least he's able to execute them pretty well, which is more than I can say for Fist of the North Star. Hey, have I mentioned that this is better than Fist of the North Star? Because so far this is way better than Fist of the North Star.
Now you die, Freeman.
I have not seen this so far live action.
You see, that is why you always make sure you kill somebody before you start to get caught.
It was my job.
I'm not gonna lie, this is interesting.
Watch over you.
It's kind of better than the actual anime.
Should have killed her.
Yeah, well, now you're dead and I'm still alive, so really who made the right decision here? However, Yo apparently didn't do a good job covering his tracks since the Yakuza follow him to his house. Hey, fellas, just a friendly geisha here. Not sure who this white lady you're looking for is. You know, considering the setting, I think it's important to remember the teachings of Buddha. Which is that if anyone tries to mess with your girlfriend, you need to fuck their asses up. And wisdom isn't the only thing Buddha has to share. Damn, Buddha's temples are badass. For somebody who cries every time he kills somebody, Yo straight up turns into Scarface during this finale. Look, guys, I know you want to get the Freeman, but maybe just call it a wash. Trying to kill him seems like more trouble than it's worth. Jeez, can anything stop him? What the fuck?
cop?
You're slipping, Yo. Not to worry, though. Emu's finally taking some initiative in this movie. And besides, this just gives Yo a perfect excuse to take his shirt off. He didn't spend all that time in the gym not to show off a little. Here's another fun fact. Mark DeCascos helped choreograph this ending sword fight, and he actually does a good job.
I hurt
Although
myself
For his sake,
laughing.
I hope these Yakuza thugs don't remember they brought guns with them.
If you remove the knife, you will bleed to death.
And if you keep it there, you'll die because there's a knife in your heart. Yo says that he'll spare her life in exchange for the Yakuza leaving
She's gonna
him
die
alone.
anyway.
Okay, looks like everything worked out alright.
No. I give my word.
Dude, just let it go. Or don't. Yo and Emu
Of
then
course you
escape
would do
when
that.
they change their names
She
to
used him.
Hay and Ostrich. The
So why
end.
should he have
So
cared?
that's Crying Freeman. And out of all the Western anime or manga adaptations to not be available in the US, they just had to pick one of the better ones, didn't they? Like I said, I'm not familiar with the manga, so I have no idea how faithful this movie is to it, but I can say that this is one of the only English language adaptations of a popular Japanese property to seem like it actually has some respect for what it's adapting. A lot of these kinds of movies either seem to go for an overly silly tone that seems like it's poking fun at the subject
I know
matter,
one.
or just kind of
City Hunter.
half-ass things with an adaptation that feels like it's not even trying.
That is scary.
City Hunter.
But
It
this
wasn't
one...
anime. It was a manga. It is a live action as well. It's a Jackie Chan movie.
Oh. Wait.
City Hunter.
Okay, I don't want to feel bad for him. I didn't even know he sang. I didn't know he was a singer.
Hello,
Anyway, so.
United Personality of us here, and welcome to week 12.